Hey guys, welcome to 40 Runs, the YouTube channel for the everyday runner. Thanks for coming along to my channel. If you are new to the channel, make sure you're hitting that subscriber button down below to stay up to date with all my latest running videos. This is a video on half marathons. I've got some half marathon tips on how to run your best race, so let's get stuck in. Hey guys, what's up? As I said, this is a video on half marathons and my tips for you to run the best race you can when you get on that start line. My name's Chris Ford, aka FORDY, and I've been running for a little while now, and I've done plenty of half marathons, so I think I've got some tips for you that are potentially going to help you out. Number one, to have the best race, you need to have had the best training. Now, when I say best training, I mean, have you had a successful training spell leading up to this half marathon? Now, I'm not saying that you need to be, knocking it out of the park with your times and your splits and everything like that. When I say about your best and your successful training, I'm talking about anything positive. Did you have a positive training experience? If you did, I want you to take that training experience and the positive elements of that and take that with you to race day. And the reason that is because when you get on the start line, and you're having doubts and you're a bit anxious or whatever, I want you to focus back on the training that you've done, and you know what you've accomplished, and you know that you did it in the best possible way that you could, even if you've had niggles, injuries, setbacks, whatever. But take the positives from that training and take that with you to the start line. And when you're on the start line and you're a bit unsure what's going to happen, or you're a bbit nervous like we all get, just think back to your training and think about those positive parts that you had in that training, whether it be that you smashed the 5k, or you negative split it, I don't know, 10k, or even if you finish strong towards the end of your training period. Just take that positive element from that training session, or that training period, and take that with you to the start line, because it will make such a difference to your race, the fact that you go in there with the right same frame of mind from the experience that you've gained from your training period. And that's why you do a training period, to get you ready for that start line. So make sure you get set in here from what you've learned in your training, and that's tip number one. So let's get stuck into tip number two. Number two, the mental aspect. I just spoke about it a minute ago. It is really, really critical that you get to that start line with the best possible frame of mind. Now, I touched on it, talking about the training plan, but I'm talking now about everything. You really need to go there and have a positive mental attitude. It sounds silly, but it's a basic thing. If you've got it all sorted up here, you're going to really, really perform well in the race. There's going to be loads of different things chucked at you during the race. There's going to be people in your way. There's going to be ag at the drink stations. The weather might change. It might be hot. It might be cold. There's going to be all sorts of different things going on, and that can impact you up top. So you've got to stay positive, and you've got to stay in the right frame of mind throughout the whole thing. And being mentally strong will make such a positive impact on your race performance. You really have to focus on it. So my tip to you is to get strong up here. Think about different things, how you're going to control your emotions, how you're going to control the doubts you get, especially if you're a first time half marathon. You're going to have nervous energy and you're going to be unsure. We all get it. I mean, I still get it now. If I'm doing a race, there's the element of nerves. But take that nervous energy and take that anxiety and turn it into a positive. And keep that head strong up here. If you're strong up here, you're going to be strong on your legs, and you're going to be strong finishing, and that's the most important thing. And believe me, if you get your head straight, you're going to be such a good runner. You're going to be finishing in the right frame of mind, and you're going to be finishing strong. So that's tip number two. Tip number three, you've got to set yourself realistic goals. You've got to think to yourself, what am I going to achieve in this half marathon? And I'm talking before you start the race. You've got to have in your mind a rough plan of what you're going to do. I know before I do an event what I'm going to achieve or look to achieve in that race. Now, whether it be a training run, or whether I'm going to be trying to do it because I'm trying to do a PB or anything like that, you've got to set yourself realistic goals. And when I say realistic goals, you've got to look back to almost point one when I talk about your training. If you've had a successful training and you're on for a PB, then that's fine, but you've got to be realistic about where you are physically, where you are mentally, and that kind of stuff. And you're better off going into the race with a realistic target in mind, because it's going to be all things thrown at you. Yeah, you want to go in and perform the best you can, but if you've got a realistic goal, you know that when you start the race, that whatever you've set yourself is achievable. If you go there and you're thinking, yeah, I've got to run, I don't know, 1 hour 30, but in training you've only been really 1 hour 40, deep down you know it's going to be a real push. Have in your mind that maybe, you know, I'm going to try and just get under that 140, and then if you've got a little less stress with regards to your ambitions for that day, you might surprise yourself and you might perform better. I'm not saying don't go there with high aspirations of what you're going to achieve, because that's not what I'm saying, but what I'm saying to you is set realistic goals. Look at your training, look at how you perform, look at how you're feeling physically, mentally, you know, you might have had a cold or whatever, and just set yourself a realistic goal of what you're going to achieve in that half marathon. Because setting off, again, goes back to the mental side of it, setting off with a realistic target, you are going to perform a lot better than if you're pushing yourself because, oh, I've got to get to that 130, I've got to get to that 130. And realistically, you're not yet at running a 90-minute half marathon. You're still, you know, back here at, you know, running 1 hour 45 or 2 hours or whatever. So set yourself something realistic. It's really important to go to the start line with those targets in mind, and then you've got upside, right? Because you can always outperform, but underperforming, you're going to feel terrible. So that's a top tip. Set yourself realistic goals for your half marathon race. Tip number 4, pace. Leads on nicely from setting yourself realistic goals. Again, go back to your training. Look at your pacing. Look at where you're at with regards to your half marathon pacing. Make sure that you don't go off too fast. I know you hear it from everybody about, you know, race strategies and stuff about not going off too fast, but it's really important that you don't go off too fast. Set yourself a pace before you get to the start line. Know what your splits are going to be. Obviously manage your splits, whether it's on a GPS, stopwatch, earphones, app, whatever you're doing. Manage your splits, stick to your splits, stick to your pace, and execute a race plan. By doing that, you're going to have a much better race. When I'm running along, I'm concentrating really, to be honest with you, on my split times, and I have them set every like half kilometre, because I'm so concentrated on my pacing in a race, so I'm not going too fast or I'm not going too slow, and those kind of things. Because you know what happens, you've got a race, you've got a half marathon, you're all excited, your adrenaline's pumping, you go out like a nutter and you blow your load, you're done before you get, you know, halfway, and then you've got problems and you've got to manage that situation. So what you want to do is get yourself a plan before you go out, and as I said, just set yourself a realistic goal, get your splits, know what you're going to do, and pace yourself throughout the event with your target in mind. By having a structure to your pace and to your race, you will perform much better during that half marathon, instead of just going out and winging it and going, I'm going to try and do, you know, hour and 45 minutes. How are you going to do that hour and 45 minutes? You really need to be structured with your pace, and it will lead to a much better, stronger race and stronger finish. So yeah, pacing is my tip number 4, I think we're on. Number 5, being able to adapt. Bit of a funny one, but I think it's actually probably one of the most important ones. Being able to adapt in your half marathon race is really key, because the half marathon distance, it's long but it's short, but it's long enough to get yourself into a bit of trouble. You need to be able to adapt to what you're thrown, or what is thrown at you. I'll give you a couple of examples. When I did the Great North Run, I was told there was a lot of people, but I didn't expect it really to be that many people. And all I was doing for the first half of the race was just weaving, and I probably ran an extra 3 miles because I was just weaving, trying to get round people. People were walking up hills and stuff like that. That's fine. But what I should have done, I should have stepped back, thought to myself, you know what, let's enjoy what's in front of me, let's enjoy the crowds, let's enjoy the race, let's chat to some other people, and just adapt to what the circumstances in front of me, because all I ended up doing was killing myself, and it was stupid, and I just got frustrated because I couldn't run as fast as I wanted to run. So again, that's a good example of being able to adapt. If I had adapted, I would have just eased off, like I said, and had a chat with people. Another example of adapting, I did a 10k race. I know this is about half marathons, and it was like 27, 28 degrees. It was like a freak here in the UK. But I got to the start line and it was hot, and then I got going and it was so hot. So again, I adapted and I just eased off, and I thought, you know what, today's not about running a PB, today's about getting a suntan and finishing the race and getting the medal, and having a laugh with my friends. So to being able to adapt when you're out there will make your race a lot better. You're going to have times when it's not going to suit what you've planned, and there's going to be stuff thrown at you, whether it be the weather, whether it be more runners, whether it be people getting in your way, whether there's ag at the water stations and all this sort of stuff. But you need to be able to adapt as you're going through, and it will make you have a better race. You might not feel like you raced as strong as you could, but when you look back on the race you'll think, well, I adapted to what was according to what was in front of me, and I had the best race accordingly. So to being able to adapt in a half marathon, I think is one of the keys to a good race, to be honest with you. That's actually tip number 5. I think I only want to do 5 tips, but I'll tell you what, I've got another one for you. So my last tip is all about finishing strong. In the half marathon, you should be able to finish strong. If you've stuck to your pacing and you've managed your expectations, obviously if you've had to adapt to certain elements like I spoke about a minute ago, that's fine, but you still should be able to finish strongly. Finishing strongly, I think, is a key to any race really, and I'm not just talking about sprinting to the finish, I'm talking about finishing it in the right frame of mind, thinking to myself, I've done the best I could today with what I had in front of me. You didn't leave anything out on the track. You know, you can easily say to yourself, well, I only did that half marathon in 1:52 because there was, I don't know, 5,000 people that were getting in my way. But during that last kilometre, when people are getting tired, you know that you achieved the pace that you wanted to achieve, that you set out to achieve when you started the race. That kind of thing I'm talking about. So you come away with from the race feeling strong, that you achieve what you wanted to achieve, and that's what I'm talking about, finishing strong. I'm not talking about sprinting to the finish. Yeah, you should, obviously, if you can, you've got a bit left in the tank and you have paced accordingly, you should be able to finish strongly and get through there fast. But I'm talking about finishing strongly mentally, so that when you have finished, that you feel like you've given enough, considering what you had in front of you. If you've had a perfect race, i.e. weather conditions, people weren't getting in your way, you weren't tripping over water bottles and all that kind of stuff, and you run a PB, great. But even if you've had to adapt and things have been thrown at you, but did you run the best race you did? Yeah, probably. But you want to come off of there feeling up here that you've done everything you can that day. You've not left anything behind you, and you've done the best with what you had, and you achieved everything, like I said at the start, which you wanted to achieve. So as long as you hit your pacing, you've hit your expectations, and you've gone through the day and you've adapted accordingly, then I reckon you probably should have had the best race you could have had, all things considered. There's going to be days when things are going to get thrown at you that you can't do anything about. But those days is the days that you still want to make sure that you finish strongly up here and say to yourself, you know what, I still smashed it. I still was able to do this split, that split, did that distance in that time, that kind of stuff. And that way, when you go to do your next half marathon, you're going to remember the one that you did before, and you're going to think to yourself, yeah, you know what, I've done a PB, or you know what, based on everything that I had thrown at me, I still finished strong. And that's the right thing up here to take to your next race, and that's why it's such an important tip, I think, to finish strongly. So for your next race, you're not mentally scarred, you're not thinking to yourself when you get on the start, oh yeah, but the last race was terrible, blah blah blah. No, you finished strong, and you know that you did everything you could, and you did the best race that you could, given the circumstances, or as I said to you, whether you run a PB or whatever. But you definitely smashed it, and you're pleased when you've got that medal around your neck, and you did a good job, and you did everything you could that day. And then that will help you for your next half marathon race, and I think that's why it's an important tip. So make sure you finish strong. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, I appreciate that. Make sure if you like the video, you hit that thumbs up down below for me. And also, as I said at the start of the video, make sure you're hitting that subscriber button to stay up to date with all my latest running videos that are coming out on FORDY Runs. Also, I'm going to put up here another video which I think will be interesting for you, so make sure you click on there, and I'll catch you guys later.